In this video, let's take a look at how we can work with Qarbon's patented cursor technology to edit our cursor animation in our Violet project. Right now we're looking at a slide that contains cursor animation. And on the timeline, we see that we have a cursor path that we can hide if we want to work with other aspects of the slide without the cursor path getting in the way. Let's go ahead and show this again. And we can also lock it if we want to prevent accidental editing of the elements that make up the cursor animation. Let's go ahead and unlock it. Now, what are we looking at here? Well, the green circle here indicates the position or the starting position of this cursor on the current slide. The dotted line indicates the path or the cursor path it will travel until it gets to its ending position on the current slide, as indicated by the red circle here. There may also be times when you see a blue circle along the cursor path, which indicates that the cursor shape will change at that point as it travels along the cursor path. Now, there's several things we can do while editing the elements that make up the cursor animation. We'll cover several of them in this video, and then you can play around with this on your own. For example, if you want to go ahead and move the position of any of the cursors, simply select the cursor you want to move, then hold down your left mouse button, drag it to its new position, and then let it go. It's as easy as that. So let's go ahead and maybe for this particular blue circle, we want it not to change there, but we want it to change its shape right about there. So we can drag that as well. We also have the ability, anytime we select a cursor, to use any of the icons along the second level toolbar while editing the cursor animation. So for example, maybe I don't want this particular cursor shape here. I want to change it. I can easily do that by choosing the cursor style dialog, opening it up, and then going through it and selecting a different style and applying it. It's as easy as that. Now, let's say you want to go ahead and change the cursor style or the cursor shape, but you don't see its style within the dialog here. Well, here's a little authoring tip. Simply capture a slide that has the cursor shape that you need, bring it into the project, open up the cursor style dialog to verify that that cursor shape is loaded into the dialog, close the dialog by clicking OK, and then you can get rid of the slide. And that particular cursor style will be available for the project and all other projects that you do from then on. It's as easy as that. Let's go ahead and continue. Let's click OK here. Now you'll notice that the cursor path here is curved. If we don't want to have a curved path, maybe we want to go ahead and make it straight. We have the ability to do that. But let's go ahead and make it curved. Now, pay attention to the cursor animation as you tweak it, because you want to have as realistic movement and changes of cursor as possible. So here we have this particular cursor that's going to travel here, change shape when it gets to this part of the slide, and then it's going to travel all the way up here to its ending position before it changes shape again. But I know, working in this particular demo, that the cursor would probably change shape again here before it reaches its ending position. So what do? Well, it's fairly easy. I'm going to select the cursor, after which I want to add another cursor shape. And then up here, I'm going to go ahead and add a point to the cursor path. So I'm going to click that. Here's a point that's added. I'm going to drag it to the position where I want to add another cursor shape. This time, I'm going to right click. There's always more than one way to do the same operation in your Violet authoring app. Keep that in mind. Then I'm going to go up to cursor style. Let's drag that over here, and then I'm going to choose the cursor shape I want to use here and click OK to apply it. So now when this plays back, it's going to have this as its starting position, its starting cursor. It's going to travel along the cursor path, change shape here, continue, change shape here, and then it's going to come to its ending position here. Now, if you ever want to play this back, you can do it, preview it in a browser, or you can simply go ahead and preview the current slide. Let's do this now and watch what happens. The cursor is going to go ahead, travel, change shape, and go to its ending position. It was that quick. Now let's look at a couple of other items that you might encounter while working with and editing your cursor animation. Let's go to the next slide. Now remember, The red circle is the ending position of the cursor on the current slide, but when we go to the next slide, it turns into the green circle because now it's the position of the starting cursor on the current slide. If you didn't catch that, let's do that again. Ending position is indicated by the red circle. Go to the next slide, it turns into the current starting position on the current slide as indicated by the green circle. Now, right here we're looking at the cursor movement. It looks like the cursor is going to move down to here for some reason in this demo. Why, we're not exactly sure. So let's just go ahead and jump to the third slide. And it looks like the cursor travels here but then goes back over here. Now, let's go back to the second slide and take a look at this. What we're seeing here is illogical cursor movement, which may have occurred during the capture session for whatever reason. You want to pay attention to avoid this. This is what's known as stray cursor movement. You don't want to have the cursor moving where it doesn't make any logical sense, because that will take away from the integrity of your demo and just as plain sloppy if you don't clean it up. So we're going to go ahead. There's different ways you can clean up stray cursor movement. We'll show you a couple here, and then again you can play around with these techniques on your own. Here the way we're going to do it is we're going to go to our third slide, and then we're going to look at where we want this particular cursor to actually be. We're going to select it, right click, and we're going to say snap to previous. Then if we go back to the second slide, it makes more sense that we're not going to have any cursor animation on this slide because both the starting position and the ending position cursors will be in the exact location, because all they're going to be doing is clicking this particular menu to, when you get to slide 3, display it, and then the cursor will be moving down to this position. So that's one way you can clean up stray cursor movement. Another common example of where you might find stray cursor movement might be on the last slide. So let's go ahead and jump ahead here. And let's scroll down a little bit here. Now again, remember we're on the last slide of our video here. And if you look at this, we have the starting position of the cursor, and it looks like it wants to move up over here to an ending position, but this doesn't make sense because there's no slide following this particular slide. This is the last slide of our video. So there's no reason why we would have stray cursor movement here. This is very easily fixed. On the last slide, if you ever see stray cursor movement like this, simply remove the cursor from the slide and then add it back in, and then you'll see that there is not going to be any animation on this slide because it doesn't occur. And we've also removed the stray cursor movement as well. That's it for this topic. If you have any questions on any of Qarbon's products and services, please visit us online at www.qarbon.com. Happy viewletting!